When you think of King Tutankhamun, what's the first thing that pops into your head? It's probably this, right? The incredible solid gold death mask. It's one of the most famous images in the world. But the real story here, it's not just about the gold, not even close. It's a story about a warrior king, a hidden queen, and a 3,300-year-old mystery that basically challenges everything we thought we knew.
Just let that number sink in for a second. 5,398. That's how many individual artifacts were packed into 4 tiny sealed rooms. I mean, from golden shrines down to his everyday sandals. It was like a perfect time capsule of a pharaoh's entire world waiting to be opened.
And those were the now famous words from the archaeologist Howard Carter. You gotta picture the scene. He'd been searching for years in the blistering heat of the Valley of the Kings. Finally, he makes this tiny hole in a doorway. His patron, Lord Carnarvon, is standing right behind him, anxiously asking, "Can you see anything?" And all Carter can manage to get out is, "Yes, wonderful things." Talk about an understatement.
So for 100 years, we've been mesmerized by all this treasure. But what we're going to do now is look a little closer. We're going to use these priceless objects like clues in a detective story, because they unlock a story that's way more complicated than just a simple tale of a boy king. It's a story of a sudden death, a seriously rushed burial, and a whole lot of treasure that might not have even been his to begin with. Okay, so first, let's just quickly set the scene. Before 1922, Tutankhamun was basically a nobody in the history books, just a footnote. The discovery of his tomb, it changed absolutely everything. Not just for archaeology, but really for the whole world. I mean, can you imagine? 6 long, hot, dusty seasons of digging with almost nothing to show for it. Howard Carter was just about to give up. But his persistence paid off. He found a single step, which led to another, and then a sealed doorway. What was behind it was the only almost completely intact royal tomb ever discovered. It was so massive, it took a full 10 years just to carefully catalog and remove every single item. So all that treasure created this image, right? This idea of a frail, pampered boy king who died tragically young. But is that who he really was? Because the evidence that was actually found in his tomb, well, it paints a very, very different picture.
So on one hand, you have the myth, the weak child pharaoh. But on the other hand, you have the cold, hard evidence, the actual stuff in his tomb. And that evidence tells a completely different story. The story of Tutankhamun, the warrior king. And let's be clear, these were not ceremonial toys. This was high-tech military gear for its time. We're talking about advanced composite bows that were incredibly powerful, a state-of-the-art leather tunic. Think of it as the ancient Egyptian version of a Kevlar vest, and 6 honest-to-goodness war chariots. This was the arsenal of a serious king who was ready for battle. And maybe the most incredible piece of evidence was found resting right on Tut's mummy. It was a dagger, with a blade made of iron. But this wasn't just any iron. CT scans showed it was meteoric iron, a metal that literally fell from outer space. To the Egyptians, this stuff was rarer than gold. It was a true gift from the gods, the ultimate weapon for a warrior king. Okay, so we're building this picture of a warrior king. But just when you think you've got it figured out, the investigation takes a shocking turn. As experts looked closer and closer at the treasures themselves, they found these unmistakable signs that a lot of these objects, they weren't originally made for Tutankhamun at all. And that one simple question sent researchers on this wild forensic hunt, sifting through these golden artifacts. They were basically chasing a ghost that had been hiding in plain sight for over 3,000 years. So, who was the original owner of all this priceless stuff? The evidence really does read like a crime novel. On some of the biggest, most sacred objects, you can literally see where a previous name was scraped off and Tut's was just carved right over it. Some of the statues that are supposed to be him have really feminine features like distinct hips and breasts. But here's the kicker. In their rush to get the burial ready, the priests made a mistake. They missed one single bracelet, leaving the original owner's name perfectly intact. All of these clues point to one person, Merit Hetin. She was Tut's older sister, and it's very likely she ruled before him as a full-fledged pharaoh queen in her own right. So think about that. The magnificent treasure that we all associate with King Tut was actually made for her burial. So this discovery just makes the whole mystery even deeper, doesn't it? If Tutankhamun was this powerful warrior king, why on earth was he buried so quickly in a small, borrowed tomb, surrounded by his sister's hand-me-down treasure? The signs of a rushed job are just everywhere you look. The tomb is way too small for a pharaoh. His coffins were clearly altered. They literally sawed off parts of them to make them fit. And the mummification was a total mess. His heart, the most important organ for the afterlife, was missing, and his body showed signs of catastrophic injuries. All of this points to one thing: a sudden, violent death that caught the entire kingdom completely unprepared.
So, what happened to him? Well, the leading theory is a high-speed chariot crash, which would definitely explain the massive trauma to his chest. Other scientists point to genetic problems and malaria that would have made him weaker. And another theory suggests he died on a military campaign, far from home, which would explain why the mummification was so botched. But hold on, there is one more really bizarre clue. When Howard Carter finally got to the mummy itself, he found that parts of it were literally burnt, cooked, inside its own sealed golden coffin. For decades, this just fueled all the rumors about a pharaoh's curse. But the truth wasn't supernatural. It was just chemistry. In the rush to mummify him, they used way too much flammable embalming oil. Sealed inside the coffin, those oils reacted with the linen wrappings and the air and started a chemical reaction that basically slow-cooked the pharaoh for over 3,000 years.
You know, the discovery of Tutankhamun's treasure took a king that nobody had heard of and made him a global icon. But it also tells this incredible story of political drama, a forgotten queen, and a warrior who died way too young. It's just a powerful reminder that even with the world's most famous treasures, the past, well, it always has more secrets to share.